lately, there have been a lot of interesting things to comment on YouTube besides this show. So on this episode of Rules for Retrogrades, I'm going to bring you another review of one of those performances. That performance was Mel Gibson on the Joe Rogan experiment, Joe Rogan experience, whatever it's called. I will report for you, as I've said in other social media platforms. It's the first time I ever watched a full episode of the Joe Rogan experiment, and I was staggered by the superficial element. Just how silly Joe's line of questioning was. How childish the appeals were. Repeated references to drugs and golden showers, psychedelics. I tweeted this out after I completed listening to the interview the first time. I have a note, I haven't said anything about Mel so far. If I say faking gay on this show, just a fun 90s expression, or make a good old-fashioned race joke, just pointing fun at how silly the kind of boomer obsession with race is. I don't care. Or I say a harmless, little non-sinful kind of potty word, like shit or piss, something like that. If I say that on this stream, Catholics, not all of you, not the parish orphans or retrogrades, but lots of Catholics that happen to either hate watch this show or just pearl clutchers who watch the show will be caterwauling tearfully for hours. Yet in this Mel interview on the Joe Rogan extravaganza, Joe extols psychedelic drugs. He proudly recalls smoking weed on screen many, many times. I think that was a staple of his show early on. And he repeatedly blasphemes our Lord's holy name. The latter of which is a definite instance of grave matter. Here's why your line of questioning about evolution with Mel was absolutely hilarious. Here's why it's absolutely hilarious that you're referencing the dichotomy between good and evil, between good and evil as an ontologically verifiable thing. Even though you're an agnostic, I mean, it's funny. It's a hoot. Let's do it. And I mean, I'm sure we'd probably end up getting along. But you can't just send any Ned Flanders dork, and the Catholic space is full of them. And the Eastern Orthodox space is less full of them. But Jay would be a good guy for the soda. Okay, so let's get to it. I apologize for his stonerificness. It's offensive because it's stupid. It's not offensive because it's a threat. Let's just get into it, okay? Oh, but first, I want to make this plea. Get the hell out of your blue state. Get to a red state. Go to realestateforlife.org. They will help you get out of your blue state and get to a red state. It's something everyone needs to do. If you listen to this channel, you know how important this is. You need to do it. Please do it now. realestateforlife.org. Do like I did. It's so important. Also, go to timothyjgordon.com. We're going to have 3 ongoing live classes this semester. Right now, we have the marital workshop, how to actually have a patriarchy in your home. We're going to get 2 others. I'll announce them soon, in a month or 2. Also, you can get 2-on-2 live coaching by me and Steph, weekly calls from us. Go to timothyjgordon.com. A lot of marriage is needed because, the dominion of women is the disassembly of the family, the erosion of the family, as Aristotle says. And that's what most Catholic men have going on. Okay, so let us do it. Let's go to the first quotation. And here we go.
Yeah, tell a few people.
Yeah, and then
can you guys hear this?
Hey, we're archaeologists and scientists. And they never had some revisionism about it too, that it didn't happen.
Let me know if you can hear it. Here we go. Sorry for the speed. I listen to these fast.
Is alive and well in our society, I think.
It really is. It's just dressed up in a different way.
Yeah.
So Mel's trying to talk about
what? Like an apocalypse was like, yeah.
It really is. It's just dressed up in a different way.
Human sacrifice, he says, is alive and well.
But the human sacrifice aspect is alive and well in our society, I think.
It really is. It's just dressed up in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, rhetoric around it. But they've always been able to justify it. like in Apocalypto, it was like, yeah, so the crops will be better. Hey, we'll just, you know.
Yeah, kill a few people.
Yeah, and then I had all these people come out of the woodwork. Hey, we're archaeologists and scientists, and that never happened. So there's this revisionism about it too, that it didn't happen. But there are accounts from the time where, yes, people did witness these things, and of course, I had a bunch of battery of archaeologists and scientists and professors on my own that say, yeah, well, this stuff did happen. And here's the you know the depictions of it in paintings and images, and you know, so it did happen.
So Joe,
it's a mess.
I don't think is, to say the very least,
That was a crazy.
is not anti-abortion. Mel is talking about abortion here. Human sacrifice is alive and well. It's institutionalized. Human sacrifice until, what was it, June of 2021, Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, was institutionalized so thickly, so robustly in our Protestant Enlightenment culture, American culture, that it was illegal for any of the most red states, any of the reddest states in the 50 states of the United States of America, to illegalize it. It was illegal to illegalize it. That's how bad this stuff was. That's how bad the culture got under the watch of greatest gen boomers, Gen X, in the 70s. Depending on, you know, who you blame there, or what your minimum age for blameworthiness is. The culture was just lost, and it's still lost, and we're past the point of no return. But what I'm saying is, Joe heard Mel making this clarion signal call to condemn abortion, and he just goes, yeah, human sacrifice. That's like the immorality, he kept coming back to it, of vaccinations, particularly beer bug vaccinations. And Mel's kind of like, he's rolling along. Mel never says, no, dude, I meant abortion. Literally sacrificing young babies to the state gods. You know, like the Mayans did. Because they keep referencing Mel's really excellent film, Apocalypto. I like that one a lot. A lot of the pearl clutchers out there, it's very violent. You shouldn't watch it. You'll start you know, crying tears of soy. But it's a good movie. I like it. I'm going to start saying this. I like it. If you start crying tears of soy really easily, people out there, then but somehow you still watch Joe Rogan Experience every week. I don't get that one. Then don't watch it. But it's all about human sacrifice and the Mayans and the Aztecs and how this was a major thing that kept their at the time thriving civilization thriving until the white man arrived and ended that hilariously. So I don't know. I don't know why Mel didn't push back and say, no, I mean abortion. I don't mean vaccines, dude. But he was trying to be friendly. Mel says a lot of the right things without pushing too hard or moralizing much. But Joe is just dodging it. Because, I mean, I think I'm sure he's pro-abortion, right? I mean, again, I can't suffer to listen. You hear, and I was apologizing for this, it's in 2X, because I can't listen to 3 hours of like Stoner Jim in a van down by the river. No, I don't mean Protestants. I mean Joe Rogan in this case. I can't listen to that on 1X. And some, you know, I tried to slow it down for some of the clip grabs to 1.25, but sometimes I just kept rolling. So that's clip one. Mel brings up abortion qua human sacrifice. Joe dodges it while agreeing and just pins contemporary human sacrifice odd vaccines.
Because it was a great movie, but it seemed like there was resistance to that movie.
Oh yeah, no, there was
which I thought was very strange. There was like
so
Hollywood.
We kind of start out talking about Passion of the Christ as and we end the interview talking about Passion of the Christ.
Resistance to that movie, like people didn't like that you were making it.
No, like there was a lot of opposition to it, and
immediately Joe is acting puzzled. You know, so in Hollywood, which is run by for some reason they didn't like a movie that told the truth about Jesus, that he's God, the divine Son of God, that he's God, the second person of the Holy Trinity, and that the son, I forget who killed him. For some reason they didn't like that. Joe's either even dumber than I'm saying he is here, or he's just not based. Even dumber or not based, or both. Because he won't say it.
I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter,
Name the
you're going to get people
Joe.
going.
Name
because,
the Joe.
Of course, it's big subject matter, and it's like, and my contention is, when I was making it was like, you're making this film, and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was for all mankind, and that for all our ills and all the things in our fallen nature, it was a redemption. So, and I believe that. I actually am. I was born into a Catholic family. I'm very Christian in my beliefs, so I do actually believe this.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to pause, Mel. His sacrifice was for all mankind, and in some final, formal sense, his death became requisite with the original sin of Adam and Eve. So it is expiatory in that sense. Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, and it was in some final, efficient way of causality caused by everybody's sin, which is, original sins attributed to like everyone minus 2 or 3 humans ever. And it is dogma in like Denzinger. You can't deny that but for Adam's and Eve's sin in the garden, Jesus he still would be the second person of the Trinity, but he's still the Son, but he would not have incarnated. There would have been no point. He's the Redeemer because of Adam. Mel makes a great point about the place of the skull where he's crucified here's a tight thematic connection, called the place of Adam's skull, Golgotha. I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? I don't expect to listen to Joe Rogan Experiment and like learn something, especially not about Jesus, but that was interesting. It's because of Mel. Mel knows a thing or two. Is that an interesting life? But again, I like color. I like colorfulness. What I don't get are the Catholics out there that don't even like if you say poo-poo or pee-pee when you're worked up and can't, but somehow brook the foul-mouthed filth of Joe Rogan. I don't get it. I won't talk anymore about that. I probably will, but so I don't get, did you know that in The Passion of the Christ, Mel left as a compromise to satisfy the Hollywood people, those who knows. He left in the blood curse from the gospel. Let his blood be upon us and our children. But he took it out, and I'm not blaming him for this. He took it out of the subtitles because the people who run Hollywood don't like that sort of thing. The truth, the gospel, Jesus, and the truth about who killed him. They said in the gospel, let his blood be upon us and our children, meaning it's a kind of generational thing. Mel said, okay, how about as a compromise, I'll take it out of the subtitles, but I'll leave the lines in there in Aramaic. That's the fact. So Mel knows who killed Jesus. But here, in some more grandiloquent, abstruse sense, it was, in fact, all of our sins, the original sin, and all of our personal sins. But I don't know. He shies away from saying it here on Rogan. I don't have a big problem with that because, I don't even know. I don't know Joe's temperament well enough. He just seems like it's far too, it's a bummer on your dubiosity, bro. It's like that would be harsh and as mellow. I don't know. You only get like #1 podcast by being this stupid because the culture is this stupid and the hoi polloi is this stupid, I guess. All right.
Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage. Yeah. Christianity is the one religion where people, all these progressive, open-minded, leftist people, they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes to Christianity. And for whatever reason, that represents like white male, whatever it represents, colonialism, whatever it represents, it's negative.
Yeah, sure, it's gotten a bad rap, and people do feel free to beat up on it. Mm-hmm. Even I do when I see it's like, when it's not fair.
Right.
So it's because it represents colonialism. That's no. Try again, Joe Rogan. This is the Joe Rogan experiment. Can you figure it out, Joe? I think he actually can. That's the experiment. No, it's not because of colonialism, you moron. Colonialism is a term they made up within a decade or two. And they know that their words are bullshit. They know that the concept underpinning that neologism, colonialism, is bullshit. Why they hate Christianity is because they are the, the people who run Hollywood are the people that hate Christians most. Let's just say that. people who are more interested in the Talmud than even the Old Testament, but certainly the New Testament. So enough said. Joe, do you get it now? That's the only person that hates uniquely Christians. They don't hate anyone else. But don't they hate Islam? Remember when like Adam King said this to Gavin McDonald? Gavin was defending that more boomerish point of view about the Middle East. Gavin McInnes. Steph's reminding me to, you know, this gets inside baseball. And, you know, there are a couple other people that were a little more red-pilled on, including like NJF. And there's a Jewish guy named Adam King, and they, NJF and his buddy, I think Keith Woods, were like, Adam, why don't you tell Gavin, who's kind of blue-pilled on this, what religion you and all of your buddies, Adam King, would eliminate from the face of the earth if you could? Would it be Islam? Because people that are really blue-pilled and believe the kind of boomer media lie, Fox News, CNN, whatever, they think like, yeah, of course the Jewish guy's going to eliminate Islam if he can. Or would it be Catholicism? And like everyone who's in the know is in the know. And of course Adam King, because he's, God bless him for being honest, is like, well, no doubt about it, without batting an eyelash. We people would get rid of Catholicism. We don't care about Islam. We don't hate Islam. Islam kind of hates them. It's not really a two-way street, and Islam does just because of the, you know, same reason other folk around the world have picked a nit or two, to say the least. But they don't, that's a misnomer, that's a lie spun by Rupert Murdoch and Fox News and CNN and all the major news no one watches anymore. No, they would get rid of Catholicism. And Gavin McInnes was so shocked, he took his headset off and he left. He was like, I was defending you, bro. And now you're saying you'd get rid of my religion? What? Yeah, that's how it's been for 2,000 years. Hence, why they hate Christians in Hollywood. They don't hate anything else. They don't hate Islam in Hollywood. No, they hate Jesus because he is God. And he was killed. God was killed by certain people's ancestors. And they said, let his blood be upon us and our children. So, you know, Joe manages to miss this one. It's a doozy, isn't it, Joe?